Hey guys, welcome to Tales Beyond Midnight. Sit back and watch this interesting video with great lessons, but please, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's dive in. The HR office of Titan Edge Solutions hummed with the sound of printers spitting out resumes, high heels clicking against tiled floors, and the low murmur of recruiters debating candidates. It was hiring season, and Titan Edge, the rising star of the corporate world, was known for its ruthless standards. Applicants flooded the inbox by the thousands, each hoping for a coveted spot. But only a handful would make it past the filters of Clara Benson, the firm's formidable head of HR. Clara was a woman who carried herself like royalty. Designer suits, sharp stilettos, and a cold smile that could freeze a room. She believed in one thing above all else: image. "Remember, team," she told her recruiters as they sat around the long table, "Titan Edge is not just a company. It's a brand. A lifestyle. We don't just hire competence, we hire class." The recruiters nodded, some with enthusiasm, some reluctantly. They knew Clara's rules: if the CV didn't scream elite schools, global exposure, or polish, it was tossed. Victor, the youngest recruiter, pulled a CV from the stack. He frowned slightly as he read. Here's one. Adana Okoro. Local degree, some small-scale consulting work, a few projects here and there. No big corporate experience. No international certifications. Honestly, pretty average. Clara leaned over, took the CV, scanned it, and scoffed. "Average is a compliment here," she said dryly. "This CV is weak. No prestige, no sparkle, nothing that screams Titan Edge material." She stamped rejected across the paper with unnecessary force. Victor hesitated. Something about the way the CV was worded felt deliberate. There was leadership between the lines, hints of bigger things. But Clara's glare silenced him. He filed the CV into the rejection pile. That evening, Clara joined a few colleagues in the office lounge. A glass of wine in hand, she bragged about her work. "You wouldn't believe the CV people send in. Mediocre nonsense. Some even think running a few side hustles makes them CEO material." They laughed, nodding. Victor overheard from his desk. His mind kept circling back to the CV stamped rejected. Why did it feel important? He pushed the thought away. The shortlisted candidates arrived, sharp in their suits and polished shoes. Nervous laughter filled the waiting lounge. Victor was walking past when he froze. There, by the elevator, was the same woman from the CV Adana. She wasn't waiting with the candidates. Instead, she walked calmly toward the executive floors, dressed in a simple gray suit, her demeanor confident but unassuming. Victor's brows knit together. What is she doing here? He nearly approached her but hesitated. She gave him a small, knowing smile before stepping into the elevator. The following Monday, Clara gathered her team. Her tone was sharper than usual. "We've been summoned to the boardroom tomorrow. The entire HR department, plus other heads of division. Big announcement. No idea what it's about, but," she smoothed her blazer, "just remember, appearances matter." She smiled, a predator's smile. First impressions are everything. Victor felt unease coil in his stomach. The next morning, tension hung in the massive glass-walled boardroom. Executives whispered, adjusting ties and jackets. At exactly 10 a.m., the doors opened. A woman walked in. She carried a slim folder, her steps quiet but commanding. She walked straight to the head of the table. Executives shifted uneasily, glancing at each other. Clara blinked in disbelief. "Good morning," Adana began. Her voice was calm but carried authority. "For those who don't know me, my name is Adana Okoro." She paused. Some whispered. "I am the founder and majority shareholder of Titan Edge Solutions. And as of today, I am stepping in as Chief Executive Officer." The room froze. Victor's heartbeat pounded in his ears. Clara's jaw slackened, her usual smirk gone. Adana opened her folder and pulled out a sheet of paper. She laid it on the table. "This," she said softly, "was submitted to the HR department last month. A CV, mine. Written under a pseudonym." The sheet had one word stamped across it in bold red ink: rejected. Gasps filled the room. Adana's gaze swept across the table, her voice growing colder. "I wanted to test something. I wanted to see how we treat applicants who don't look the part. And what I discovered disturbed me." Her eyes fixed on Clara. This resume wasn't evaluated for skill. It wasn't assessed for potential. It was dismissed. Because it didn't scream designer labels or international degrees. Clara's face flushed crimson. She stammered, "Madam, that was just a mistake?" Adana cut in, her tone sharp. "No. It was deliberate. And it is a disease eating at this company. Titan Edge was built by underdogs. By people with nothing but grit. I started with a second-hand laptop in a tiny apartment. If my resume had landed on your desk then," she tapped the rejected paper, "you would have thrown me away too." The silence was suffocating. Her voice softened but carried raw steel. "Do you know how many times I was rejected in the beginning? 10. 20. 50. I lost count. HR managers laughed at me. They said I didn't have the pedigree, the polish. But I refused to stop. I built Titan Edge brick by brick. And now, the same arrogance that once shut me out has found its way into my own company." Her eyes glinted dangerously. "That ends today." Adana leaned forward, her gaze pinning Clara in place. "This company will not be a playground for shallow judgment. From this moment, we will evaluate talent for vision, skill, and resilience. Not the brand of their suit. Not the shine of their shoes. Do I make myself clear?" Executives nodded quickly. And for those who cannot adapt, she let the silence hang. "You are free to find employment elsewhere." Her gaze lingered on Clara one last time. Clara's hands trembled under the table. Sweat dampened her collar. She had built her career on appearances, on filtering out the so-called average. Now the ground beneath her had cracked open. When the meeting ended, staff shuffled out in tense silence. Whispers filled the corridors. Victor lingered near the elevator, watching as Clara approached Adana, desperation in her eyes. "Madam, please. I didn't mean to." Adana turned, her expression unreadable. "You meant exactly what you did," she said coolly. "And that is the problem." Clara opened her mouth, but no words came. Adana stepped into the elevator, the doors closing between them with a soft ding. Victor exhaled slowly. His hands were cold. The company had changed in a single morning. The woman once dismissed as average now sat at its helm. And Clara? Her empire of appearances was crumbling, one judgment at a time. That night, Victor stayed late in the office. On his desk, he found a folded note. No name, just a neat scrawl. "Never forget, gold does not always glitter. Sometimes it hides in plain sight." He smiled faintly, slipped the note into his pocket, and turned back to his work. For the first time since joining Titan Edge, he felt proud. And somewhere in the city, Adana was already planning her next move, sharpening the company, reshaping it, and ensuring no one ever forgot the lesson she had burned into them that day. Appearances deceive. Talent does not. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.